Have you ever watched a simple kids cartoon and been hit by like a really deep lesson? Well, today we're going to tear one apart. We're deconstructing a script to figure out how storytellers build a whole narrative around one of the toughest emotions out there, fear. All right, let's get into it.
So, this is the big question, right? How do you actually teach a kid what real bravery looks like? And I'm not talking about fighting dragons. I mean the internal stuff. How do you show them that courage isn't about being fearless, but about acting even when you're scared? Let's see how this one script pulls it off.
Okay, so here's our source material. It's a script for a short Hindi cartoon called Kiro and the Door of Darkness. And what immediately jumps out at me, and should jump out at you, is the genre. For kids age 4 to 10, it's a psychological adventure. I mean, wow, that's a bold choice. It tells us right away that this story isn't about what's lurking in the shadows, but what's going on inside our hero's mind. And the moral is super clear. Have courage. Don't stop.
So yeah, let's dig into that. A psychological adventure for kids. What does that even look like? And how does the script get us ready for that kind of internal journey?
For a kid, this basically means the adventure isn't about getting through a scary forest, it's about getting through a confusing feeling, you know? The monster isn't some beast with fangs, the monster is the fear itself. And the script uses all this mystery and symbolism to make that internal struggle feel like a real, actual quest.
To really get how this quest is built, we're going to break it down with a classic 3-act structure. So, first up, Act 1. This is all about meeting our hero and seeing the world through his eyes.
The script is just so efficient here. I mean, in the first 45 seconds, boom, we get everything we need. We meet Kiro. He's got this unique look with the blue hair and silver eyes that tells you he's special. But here's the kicker, the most important part. His dreams come true. Now, this isn't just some cool superpower, okay? This is the engine that's going to drive the whole story. And we're told he's curious but slightly sad, so we know he's already looking for an answer to something.
Okay, so the stage is set, and the story wastes no time moving into Act 2. This is where things get real, where the main conflict shows up and our hero has to face his fear head-on.
And there it is. The moment everything changes, Kiro dreams of this big black door in the woods, and written on it in glowing gold letters is this challenge. It's not just an invitation, it's poking right at his identity, asking him, "Are you truly brave?" What a perfect way to kick off his psychological journey. This just perfectly captures Kiro's big problem. He wakes up totally freaked out, only to find the door from his dream is actually real. The script even has the words dream or reality flash on screen. You see, this blurring of lines is classic psychological storytelling. The outside world is literally mirroring his inside feelings, and suddenly his fear is something he can't run away from. The story builds this confrontation so carefully. It's a clear sequence: the dream, the discovery, and then the choice. It's that third step that's so important. The story puts all the power right back into Kiro's hands. His bravery isn't going to be about how he feels, it's going to be about what he does.
And here is the big twist. This is what I love. He faces his fear, he opens the door, and what's inside? No monster, no danger, just a single, tiny candle glowing peacefully. The script totally flips our expectations. The very thing he was terrified of held not a threat, but this quiet, simple truth.
And that truth? It's written in a letter right next to the candle. This one sentence is the absolute heart of the story. It's the answer to the challenge on the door. This is the big lesson. Being brave doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you keep going anyway.
So let's jump into Act 3 and see how this huge realization totally changes our hero. The adventure might be over, but the lesson is really just starting to sink in. The change in Kiro is just crystal clear. The kid who started out curious but slightly sad, totally haunted by his dreams, comes home smiling. The script says the final shot is him sleeping with a peaceful smile. He didn't find some magic sword or treasure, he found understanding. He faced the thing that represented his fear, and what he found on the other side was peace.
And just to make sure this message really hits home for its young audience, the script ends with a super clear, explicit moral. It's such a beautiful way to frame it. Being scared isn't the bad part. We all get scared. It's letting that fear stop you. That's the problem.
All right, so we've walked through the whole story. Now let's zoom out and look at the actual tools in the storyteller's toolkit. What are the key things the writer used to make this work so well?
First up, the music. The script is specific about the background music shifting from mysterious to tense and then finally to warm, which basically guides the kid's emotions. Then there's the powerful symbolism. The door is fear. It's not subtle, and it doesn't need to be. Third, it plays with our expectations, giving us light where we expected dark. Fourth, it gives us a really clear and satisfying before and after for Kiro. And finally, it doesn't leave the kids guessing. It states the moral right at the end. It's a really solid formula.
You know, when we break down a simple story like this, we see just how powerful these basic techniques can be. It really makes you think, and it leaves me with a final question for you. What was the first story, maybe a book, a movie, a cartoon, that taught you what it really means to be brave? Thanks for diving in with me.